Hey folks, Chad here with Exodus Trail Cameras. Today we're going to talk about really the basics of trail cameras. And if you're familiar with our content, familiar with the YouTube channel, familiar with our podcast, Trail Cam Radio, you know that a lot of times we're talking about kind of more advanced educational topics of trail cameras, whether that's strategies, whether that's technology, terminology, how-to type maintenance videos. A lot of that stuff is a little more advanced, and we wanted to get into something that was a little more basic. I think a lot of times, maybe not even new hunters, but some of the more experienced hunters have been using trail cameras. You can get into a complacent mindset where you are kind of overlooking some of the very, very basics. And as a brand, we hold educating people as one of the top priorities of Exodus Outdoor Gear. Whether you're buying our trail cameras or you're buying somebody else's trail cameras, there's a need there for someone to educate people on a very transparent level. So we've always done that, since the inception or birth of Exodus, and we're going to continue doing that. So this is just one way to extend that into people who are unfamiliar with trail cameras, whether they're new hunters, hunters that have been around for a while that kind of never bit the bullet or bought into the hype of trail cameras and never really started using them. So that's what this is. We're going to call this series Trail Camera 101. This is episode 1 of Trail Camera 101, and we're going to talk about what a trail camera is, how you use it, and why we think you should buy one. So trail cameras come in all different shapes and sizes. They come in standard SD card cameras, and they come in cellular devices. So a standard SD card camera is essentially going to write the data locally to an SD card, whereas a cellular device or connected device is going to, in some way, send photos to your phone. So a trail camera is essentially a point and shoot camera that is in a weather-tight or weatherproof housing, and it's triggered by what we call a PIR sensor, passive infrared sensor, that upon motion and heat will tell the camera to take a photo or take a video. Now these things are powered by replaceable AA's, so internal batteries, your typical Duracells, Energizers. We're not going to get into the battery topic. We talk about that a lot. If you want to learn more about that, go watch one of the other videos. But AA batteries, a lot of cameras can take external power sources. If you're going to look into that, also we have more content. So that is what a trail camera essentially is. Digital camera triggered by a PIR sensor, and it's powered by replaceable AA battery cells. So how do you use a trail camera? 95% of trail camera users use these as scouting tools in the deer woods. There's a lot of applicable use cases for trail cameras. You can use them for remote security cameras, where your traditional Wi-Fi type security devices won't work. There's a lot of people using them on their cabin or remote driveways, access points, things like that for remote security. There are also a lot of people who like to take photos of wildlife as just a hobby, or they're curious about what's eating their chickens or roaming around their back 40. So a lot of people buy trail cameras and they'll set them up on their chicken coop to see what's eating their chickens, or they're just simply a wildlife photographer as a hobbyist and want to capture those images of maybe beavers, raccoons, foxes, whatever it is. So those are really the three main use cases. But again, 95% of trail camera users are using these as scouting tools in the deer woods, to collect data points for whitetails. And that essentially is why we think you should have one. So we think you should have trail cameras, or buy a trail camera, or get into trail cameras, because essentially they are the biggest technological advance in a deer hunter's arsenal or in their toolbox, specifically a wireless or connected device. Most of us have normal jobs. We're working 40 to 60 hours a week. We have families, and we all are ambitious and want to see and find success in the deer woods come fall. And with such limited time, having trail cameras in the woods allows you to basically extend your scouting 365. So, you know, if you get tied up, maybe you had a scouting trip planned, the weather turns to crap, you don't want to be out walking miles in the rain. When you have trail cameras in the woods, you don't have to worry about that. So when you set these up, you can monitor specific locations, whether that's a scrape, whether that's a deer trail, whether that's some type of food source, food plot, ag field, oak stand, you know, acorns. So that is essentially why we think you should have a trail camera. If this baseline, if this base level knowledge or video sparks interest and you think you should or have some interest in trail cameras, or maybe you want to, are already decided you want to take that next step and go ahead and purchase a trail camera, and by all means, again, this video isn't, you know, it isn't a hard sell on Exodus trail cameras. Doesn't matter if you're running Reconyx, Covert, Wild Game, Tasco, Exodus, whatever it is. You know, we just want to educate people. So if you're at that point where you know you want to buy them, you know you want to use them, be sure to check out the next episode, video 2, where we talk about the lingo and terminology of trail cameras and what you should look for when purchasing. Guys, we hope this video makes sense. We hope you guys find some value. As always, if you're a new trail camera user, new hunter, and you have something specific in your head that you're unsure about, you have a question, drop it in the comment below. We'll be happy to answer that stuff for you. If you know, if you like what you see, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell notification to get the next alert for the next episode. Thanks.